Hello and welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are taking part in the 5 Builders, 1 City collaboration. And in the previous 3 episodes, we've spent time building Manitou Shores, building this ore industry, which is the Manitou Ores Incorporated company. And we've built this prison on an island. And now I want to finish up by working on some detailing and actually zoning all of this area that we put together. So the very first thing I want to do, and it might be a little counterintuitive, is I want to zone this park. I just want to make sure that I don't forget to place this. So there's the park, and that is going to not be the Glade Grounds. That's This is not the Everglades. We'll make it Manitou Commons. And, you know, I think that's going to be a really important space once this city has a population that can support that. The interesting thing is, so we've got this community now. And Manitou Shores now has 847 people. Of that, a little under 100 are incarcerated. So that's the city that we're building. We have lots of jobs and lots of prisoners, and really not much else in between. I do want to repair one thing that I think I kind of messed up in the last episode. So I built this, or I did some lane things here, but one thing I didn't do was have a dedicated turn lane onto the interstate here. So I'm going to fix that now, or at least try to fix it now. And I'm wondering why it's not giving me that smooth transition that it's supposed to. Well, same thing over here. I think it would be beneficial to have multiple lanes coming into the roundabout. And again, we have that weird situation where we're not making a smooth transition in. I'm wondering if that is because we have a couple of different assets available to us. Yep, that is the issue. Okay, so this is a network extensions versus vanilla road problem. So now that we have that, we have some more, I guess, rational turning movements here without doing a whole lot of manual work setting the lanes. This works. I think it looks nice. I think it works. It will work well. I can't promise you that it does, but I think it will. I think I might actually add another turn lane here as well. Now, with all of those turn lanes added, I probably should upgrade the roundabout to be a 3-lane roundabout. And then maybe take a look at what's happening within Traffic Manager President Edition. So now we've got that set as a roundabout. Got our turn lanes. I'm going to double check this because last time it was messed up. We're good. We are good. I think this is going to really smooth things along here. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of what we want to do here. So a couple of things. So I think that we need to really form a boundary within this area. What is the end of Manitou Shores? So I think the first place I want to look, because I made this mistake previously, I went out of my district, and I don't want to do that again. Okay, so my district ends here, so I am not going to deviate from that. So I'm going to add an exit here. I'm just going to use a vanilla exit and use that as kind of the base of what I'm going to do. And I like to do that. I think it's kind of a common sense way of improving things. I'll pause it because we have lots of problems. I'm just going to make some repairs at this point. So I do have roadway hierarchy or anarchy on, not hierarchy. I always have that on, and it's not totally necessary, but it will be helpful as I go through and fix things. Ultimately, move it's going to be what is really helpful here because things are all out of kilter. Okay, so this is at least connected. We want to fix things to make sure things line up appropriately. The other thing I want to look at is I just want to make sure that this is generated correctly. So like right here, I added a bridge segment because I think it will look a little bit better. This is really an aesthetics choice. And I think it does improve the look of things. Because this is vanilla, there are some oddities with this asset. We should fix those. Much better. I think this is kind of an extreme height for what we're doing too, so I think we're going to improve that as well. Okay. So I think that this will work and drive Biffa crazy because I am not at all using lane mathematics. Maybe he can fix that. But for me, this will do the trick. So now I need to make this connection to this collector road. So that is my next big project. Let's look at our topography. I'm not thinking about that without turning on the topographic lines. So I can tell already I'm going to have to do some grading because I need to make a connection here, and that's going to be a challenge. So let's do a bit of grading to make this work. So I'm going to back this road up just a little bit so that I can have a kind of a decline into the road from the highway. And I think that makes things a little bit more natural. So this interchange will be very similar to the one that I built previously in Geneva. And I think we're good. And we have another connection. Let's run things to make sure that it works the way it's supposed to. The one thing I want to fix right off the bat is that I absolutely despise that it will by default allow you to make a turn back onto the highway. That's not a movement that ever takes place and would never be allowed. It's not the most safe movement, so it would make sense that we restrict that movement. Okay, so we're good now. We've got our connection in. Let's get rid of anarchy because we don't need it anymore. So multiple ways into the city, multiple ways out. Now we need to think about how we're going to finish this area out. So what I'm thinking off the bat is that the Manitou Ores Incorporated company, or Manitou Ores Incorporated, needs a headquarters, and it would make sense that it's in Manitou Shores. So I want to extend downtown a little bit, and I also want to add some government buildings. We're going to use the Japanese Cities Creator Pack to actually add those buildings. And I think we're going to simulate a headquarters using those facilities. And what I like about that Creator Pack in particular is that the buildings, while they are large, don't dominate the skyline. And ultimately, that's something I care about quite a bit within Manitou Shores because we don't allow high rises. So let's take a look. So really it's these first few buildings that I'm interested in. The small office building, city office building, district office building, and the local register office. So I'm going to say that this is City Hall. And though this is a collector, I am going to place this building on the collector. District office building as well. We're going to do the same thing with these few buildings that we have. And we'll make this the smallest of these buildings Manitou or Incorporated. So I really like this. I think that it gives a sense of kind of closure, at least in my mind, to this company, because how do you have a company like that without some sort of headquarters? And I am going to place some water pipes down this road, knowing that in the future we're going to need them. We are placing them in the road where they belong. All right, very good. And now we will make sure we have a loop. So for the time being, I'm going to leave it here because I want to get into some more definitive zoning districts and think about the type of buildings that we want in this area. And as I think a little bit more, maybe we don't need to break out little segments. We just need to, well, actually, yeah, we're going to. So let's, in the downtown area, make this a special type of building. So I want everything in this area to be part of the modern creators pack, modern downtown. So let's set the style for this district. Crest Park. That's not what it's going to be. This will be downtown, and the default style will be Modern City Center. And I think that's going to give this a more contemporary look and feel. And I am going to place a little bit more density near this node down here, thinking that my thought process is that we have some higher rise buildings already. Let's see how many stories this would be. It's a 9-story building, so it would make sense to me that we have some other taller buildings around it. And we'll extend our commercial development in this area all the way to the harbor. And we are fulfilling some of our RCI needs. I want to add population here, but the reality is we need industrial and commercial more than residential at this point. So while that fills in, I do want to think a little bit about the prison. And we have this power line meeting up with this wind turbine, and I'm just not sold on that as being the appropriate solution for this area. So I am going to eliminate that, extend the power lines over instead. And then I want to streamline this. I don't want so many power lines that are duplicative and unnecessary. We're going to eliminate some of those because they're just not needed. I do think it would be nice to have some higher density residential on the coast where the values would be highest. Let's speed this up and get this zoning to occur so that I don't cut power off to the prison forever, because that's where we're heading. Really need, okay, now we got a building developing there, so we're going to be fine. So I'll slow things down a little bit. And now we have this kind of this block of downtown, and we need to get our roadway connections to this area. So from here on out, I want things to be a little bit more organic than they have been. So we'll follow other road guidelines and make connections that allow us to have a decent amount of density, but at the same time aren't quite so rigid in their design. So I think for the next road we're going to use some eminent domain and take over those 2 buildings there because we want to follow the coast. And apparently build on water. And this might be a fine road tools issue. Let's boost these up a bit. So we'll extend our grid into this area, but not make it conform the way that we have elsewhere. And then I think along the highway here, we're going to try to keep our distance so we can at least have a buffer. Like I mentioned, I think this would be the area where we want to maintain some sort of buffer for sound purposes. And that's likely going to be a tree buffer. And then from within there, we can break the blocks up a little bit. What I'm thinking here is 100% low density residential. So this is a small town through and through. No need to try to maximize density in this area necessarily. So this is interesting. We have a European building kind of springing up in this district, and that is because I haven't fully blanketed this area. So I just want to go through and kind of clean things up a little bit. Hopefully prevent the random European building from showing up. Not that I dislike them. I love European architecture. It's absolutely phenomenal, but it doesn't fit the character of what we're doing right here, right now. So I don't want those to randomly spring in there. It's really jarring to see that, in my opinion. Okay, so at this point we have a cemetery and nothing else in this area. Wow, more European buildings. Okay, I might make a change here because I don't want random European buildings showing up. I'm gonna go vanilla. And we're gonna lose all of those beautiful European buildings that just don't seem to really fit in here. So it's unfortunate, but I think it makes sense. And now from here, it's going to be a pretty basic pattern that I follow. Low density everywhere. So I wouldn't even call it a pattern. I would call it just a large swath of zoning being added to this entire area. So I am trying to be careful not to overzone around this park. I don't want to get too close to the highway. That would not be a pleasant place to live, and I don't think it's a place that would reasonably get zoned. So here I am very, very, very close. I'm going to back this off. Same thing here. Sorry, house. I'll make those homeowners very, very disappointed. They bought their land. They thought they could develop there, and then the city comes in and uses eminent domain to take it all away. And I obviously don't want my existing tree buffer to become zoned, so I'll take that away as well. So let's make sure we have water coverage throughout this entire area. I'll turn off all of my snap twos, and I'm going to loop this. And I will have a stub there that isn't looped. That's okay. And now we've got all of this land up here that needs to be served with water, so we'll do that as well. All right, so there's a lot of backup occurring at this intersection here. I think some of that is probably people moving in, but I want to keep an eye on this because that is troubling, to say the least. And that could mean that we need a small roundabout here to solve this. Truthfully, I might just go there now already. No need to delay the inevitable. We know what this area needs. Let's just take care of it now. Thankfully, that didn't really disrupt our bike path. It certainly disrupted the landscaping, but that's okay. Just landscaping. we can add more if we need to. Now, upgrading this did destroy the bike path, so we will need to add it back. Whoops. Okay, so hopefully this resolves all of our issues here once things clear out. That's it. Let's take a quick look just to make sure that the game didn't add anything crazy. Doesn't seem like it, but things are still kind of operating in a challenging way. Let's speed it up and see if this roundabout clears out. Alright, now things seem to be operating appropriately. Roundabout is slowly clearing out. There are people walking on this road. I don't know where they're walking to. I guess maybe around this roundabout to get to the service station and restaurant. That's a thing. So I guess they could do that. Alright, very good. So I think we're in a good place there. We're waiting on the zoning. Let's build this park. And this is not going to be a 5-star park. It's in my mind a lot like Manitou Shores Incorporated, which got to 4 stars immediately and then ran out of employees to actually reach 5 stars. We're going to do the same thing here. It's going to be a great park, but it's never going to become a 5-star park. It's too small. And I think it's okay to understand that. So we're even going to use a small main gate, understanding what this park is. We'll have a side gate as well. And then I'm going to fence this in. I know that's controversial. In many of my videos, I've been told that wherever you're from doesn't fence in parks, doesn't charge for parks. And I completely understand. For a city park, where I live, would never charge for that. And I'm not going to charge for this one. But I am going to fence it in. I think that's totally rational, reasonable, normal, at least in my opinion. So I'm going for it. Looks like I got a little bit too close on this corner and it doesn't like what I'm up to, so I'll use Move It to fix that. Alright, so we have the best park in the whole world. You can't do anything in it. So it's a place where you can walk in, get charged, and go home. So let's remedy that. So I want to put my snap tubes back on because I want this to be an organized, orderly park. And what I'm thinking is, let's have a small place to run, walk. We'll kind of mirror that existing pattern in the roadway network. And then we'll add some amenities. And with the amenities, maybe a cafe. Not a lot, truthfully. Restroom for sure. Is an info booth really necessary in a park this size? Probably not. But I think a chessboard would be nice, as would a plaza. And a climbing frame. And that's basically all we're going to do here. Maybe a gazebo or two. Okay, so we're going to have a lot. We're going to just cram it in this little tiny park. So that gives us enough entertainment to at least get to level 2. So that's kind of neat. So I do want to add some landscaping in here. And this is going to be a densely landscaped park. Better turn off anarchy for props. Don't want to start placing these in roads. So I do think I might clear the landscaping out in the center of the park. And on the outside have more landscaping. The idea being that someone could come and throw a frisbee in the center. Kind of take a load off, and on the outside, have more landscaping so that there's some privacy, a feeling of seclusion. A little bit of a break from the urban development patterns that you'd see elsewhere in the park, or elsewhere in the city. So now I think that this would really be a community gem. It'd be the type of place that everyone wants to go to, and that's a real benefit to the community. So I see that we're having problems with Deathcare. So we should do something about that right now. And what I think we need is a crematorium. I think that would help out. And I might put that in a fairly centrally located place. I don't want it right on the main collector going through the area, but I want close access to that collector. So now this crematorium can get basically anywhere within the community in a pretty quick time frame. Prisoner here. Well, I know where your home is. It's right over here. So speaking of the prison, why don't we get some more landscaping around here as well? I want there to be a sense of seclusion in this space. I don't want people to look out and constantly see that as a reminder of what's happening over there. So I think really dense landscaping around here would be a benefit. One of the things I thought about was adding just one home worth of residential, kind of as a warden's quarters. So I'm going to do that right now as well. So just one home. That's all we're going to do over here. A place for the warden to live. Hopefully, we're going to have to use our imagination because I imagine that the game is going to put just a random person right here. But I like to think of that because that is a reasonable thing to think that the warden would live in close proximity to the prison just in case. And that's going to take some time to fill in. Clearly, there is more desirable land available within the community. So, with the residential demand being what it is, I wouldn't expect it to have that fill in anytime soon. So we do have this bike path that kind of just ends at this point. I think I want to loop that back around. So I was going to make a connection past the harbor, but one thing I forgot is that the harbor has a road built in, and as a result, we're kind of stuck with what we have. So I'll get close to the harbor. And now our post office, for some reason, is out in the road. So let's get that fixed. It was supposed to be on this corner. Okay, very good. Another thing I'm thinking about as we are building city facilities in this area is actually the repair of our roads. The condition is poor throughout, so I might add a facility to manage our roadway network in this area as well and make repairs because we're going to need good roads in a place that has this level of heavy truck traffic. Then, of course, we'll grade this to make sure that we don't have these lumpies and bumpies on the side. All right. Oh, whoops. I did not mean to grade quite as much as I did, but I did, and I will accept responsibility for that mistake. So let's pretend it's a mulligan. A different kind of mulligan. Going back in time, trying to restore the grade of this area. I don't think I've done many of those. Much better. So now I want to look again to see what the repair looks like. Much better. I don't know if any of these other, no other communities have a road repair facility. So unfortunately, or maybe there's one. Yeah, no, it's this facility. So as a result, it's not going to be all that effective. So at this point, I think we've done all the zoning we're going to do. I want to finish up with some detail work. And that's going to be a mixture of me surface painting and adding some fences. So I have now, I kind of just want to look around here and see, like, does it make sense to have a grassy area here? Probably not. So I know that's part of the asset, but I just want to pave some of these areas that, depending on whether the city was focused on sustainability or not, which based on the industry in this area, I'm going to assume it's not at the forefront. They might be completely against all of this paving, but I think understanding what the city is, probably okay. Probably gets approved. Just wish that this was a little bit cleaner. This is one of those things that drives me a little bit crazy, is that you can't paint in a straight line. It's like the surface painter is drunk. So we're going to have to cover some of this up with landscaping, because I could go back and forth for hours. I don't think you want to see that. I don't think I want to do that. So we're going to use landscaping to cover up our deficiencies, which in my opinion is a pretty safe route to go much of the time. So another thing I want to do, often you will see on a collector road lots of auto-oriented sorts of restaurant uses. So there's a variety of these. So there's drive-in restaurant, drive-in oriental restaurant, oriental market, noodle restaurant, and a ramen restaurant. You're going to have a district of these kind of along this commercial. We're going to make this a commercial corridor where we're doing all of that sort of thing. This will serve two purposes. First, it'll generate some activity. Second, it will help us eliminate some of these power lines. Yeah, so no power lines needed. But I'll tell you what we do need. Grading. It looks terrible. Okay, so that cleans things up a little bit. We have these roundabouts, and I think I want to do something with those as well. One of the things that I know is a difference between European and American planning is generally in America we don't like clear sight distances through these roundabouts. If you think about it, at least in my estimation, if I can see that there's a clear path, I'm going to speed up. We don't want that to occur. We also don't want this bump at the start of the roundabout, so we'll lower that just a little bit. And I want to add some significant landscaping and other items within here to prevent people from seeing all the way through the roundabout. So I think I'm going to put one of these U's, or a few of these U trees right in the center. And then we'll throw some other landscaping in there as well. And apparently cover the road. So maybe I'll take a quick step back from what I was doing because it was a little extreme. All right. So that's much better. At this point, I'm going to take a step back from here and think about some of these other areas. I think that we need a little bit more landscaping near this the steel factory. So I could put together a tree brush. I don't do that a ton. I like to kind of mix things in myself. And I have a pattern that you might have noticed. I will add some larger trees, and then some medium trees, and then some small trees. And one of the things I'm looking for is a variety of sizes and colors. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. What I'm not so satisfied with is what is happening here at the roundabout. So this is making me think that maybe I have this turn lane incorrectly set up. So what I'm going to do is just reverse this. Then let's take a look at what we're doing with our turn lanes here. We'll have one dedicated and the other will at least give the option of turning should someone want to. And I'm kind of wondering the same thing here. So let's convert that one. And then set our lanes. Yeah, that's much better. Things are going to flow smoothly through here now. Alright, so I kind of want to take a look back and survey what's happening. Death. Lots and lots of death. Everyone's dying. That makes me wonder, is there an issue with our water system? I'm always afraid of this. So we do have ground pollution, but not drinking water pollution, so we're good there. Do just want to survey. Ooh. That is not currently a problem, I guess. Is that? That seems like it should be. I'm gonna move this. I don't trust that location for water storage, and honestly for this water pump over here, this water tower. Okay, so hopefully that improves things. Take a quick look. Yeah, it was on the border of being polluted. This is certainly kind of a questionable location for the Eco Inland Water Treatment Facility, but it's there. I know it's my area now, but I'm gonna leave it. I didn't put it there, and I don't feel a pressing need to disrupt what's already over there. So I do want to place another water tower though, and I think I'm gonna place it right smack dab in the middle of this roundabout. I love the look of a water tower in the center of a roundabout. I don't know that I've ever seen it personally in person, but I think that it should happen. I'm sure it does in some places. So I'm not going to get overly concerned about that location. And again, it helps break up that sight, that line of sight through here. So I think it's good. All right. So at this point, our little community is building out quite nicely, even if half the residents are dead. So I kind of want to look at Deathcare for the entire region. Yeah, our crematorium availability is not good generally. So we have a problem over here, and that is that we don't have a crematorium anywhere. I'm going to add one kind of near this polluted facility. I think that it's necessary. Let me look elsewhere. Okay, I think everywhere else we're okay, including Geneva. We're all right there. So hopefully that one helps things out here, because I'm curious as to where this existing crematorium that I built, and where is it? Let me see. There it is. Where are these vehicles going? Well, not in town. So my fear is that they are leaving the community and getting stuck somewhere. And that's why there are 7 hearses in use and no deceased persons within this facility, and dead bodies piling up in the city. So, same thing here. What's going on? Where are these hearses going? And they're leaving. That is no good. So this is a problem. And this is a problem. It's a regional problem. So let's look. Is Zardas's facility full? It's full. Shoot. So that is the problem. So we need a crematorium over here, or I will continue to experience death problems in my city. So I don't know what his intention is in this area, but I know what mine is. That is to take care of this death problem and make this connection, if at all possible. Got that gate going. So hopefully this crematorium will take care of... Wow! So many dead people. So many dead people. The entire city is dead people. Everyone in this city has died. In downtown, everyone's dead downtown too. And we have a full cemetery already. Oh my goodness. And these other ones are almost full. 10 people away. Yeah, no wonder why we're having the problems that we're having. So it's not isolated to me, it's an everywhere issue. So I actually have to fix this everywhere else if I want it to be okay here. Which is a challenge, but it's not insurmountable. Just want to double check. Yeah, we have 1 crematorium over here. We're going to add 2. Because can never have too many crematoriums. If that's what City Skylines has taught me anyway. So, and we have another full cemetery over here. Wow. Okay, so everything hits at once, especially when you are running it at quick speeds like me, and I am just the unfortunate person that has to remedy this issue. Unfortunately, I don't think that this is going to resolve itself quickly, so I'm going to have to kind of cover my eyes and pretend it's not happening. Even though it clearly is, the bodies are piling up. I kind of want to look real quick in the city statistics. Huh. So you kind of see the dip in population. I think that's death. Lots and lots of death. So let's just kind of let this go at full speed. I want to get a fence around here. This is kind of the last detailing bit in this area that I want to focus on. So this is an open pit mine, so clearly allowing people to fall into the pit is not a good idea. This isn't Parks and Rec, so let's get this fixed. I don't feel a burning need to completely fence in every last bit of space that I could, but I do want to have pretty decent coverage. So what I mean is, there's that triangle back here. It's fine if that's not covered. We can add a tree or something to make that look a little more complete. But I do feel like we need to block this area as best we can. So for a second there, I was thinking I will go way on the outside of this, and then I realized I could have a much smaller fence if I just keep it internal to this road. So that's what I will do. And then in this area, I think what I'm going to do is kind of reach the ends of the buildings, and then we'll call it on the fencing. All right, this is significantly better. I do think it would be nice to have some landscaping. It's interesting. I'm looking at this, and as I zoom out, it feels like the fence is floating because of where that shadow is lining up. And that makes me want to add landscaping even more. So I know it's not necessarily, but I'm going to do it anyway. And not a ton here, but I do think it adds something. I think it makes it feel a little bit more alive. And I like it. So, speaking of alive, this city is not alive. This city is full of dead people. And we are going to fix this if it's the last thing I do. Bad death pun. But we can't leave this like this. So let's see where the bodies are piling up. They're over here. They're over here. They're definitely over here. And they're in Geneva. Oh boy. Another full cemetery. Oh, this is terrible. So I think I'm going to add some cemeteries throughout these communities. Well, no, I think crematoriums are the way to go, truthfully. So I'm going to add one in basically every community. We have the funds for it, and we have the bodies for it. So I'm just trying to keep them off collectors and arterials, still fairly centrally located. So the other thing I'm trying to accomplish is to not demolish buildings to build a cemetery, or a crematorium rather. It doesn't seem like a great use of eminent domain to level a building for a business. So, you might not think of crematoriums as a business, but that's what they are. So eminent domain should be reserved for public uses, not necessarily private. And I just broke all the rules here, placing it on a collector. And I eliminated homes for it. So not great, but not a lot of options. One more, maybe? Okay. So we have so many crematoriums. So many. Hopefully this helps us reach our end goal of not having bodies everywhere. I might let this run for like 5 minutes to see if it clears up. Okay, so I set a personal goal not to play until I saw that all the bodies were gone. And now it looks like, at least in this little corner of the world, the bodies are gone. I just want to survey the rest of the city. There's some bodies. So there are currently 312 people that are waiting to be buried or burned. So it's not great, but it's better than it was. And I think part of this is going to be that we're emptying some of these cemeteries at this point. So the emptying is finished. This one's full. So some pretty active management of these cemetery facilities is really necessary at this point. So I know that Geneva's cemetery is full as well. Let's see how it's doing over here. Halfway empty. All right. So I think we are in a good spot with Deathcare at this point. So I want to finish up the last of what I wanted to do, which was a bit of landscaping. So perhaps not surprising, that's where my head went. We need some trees. So in the middle of these large blocks, I'm just going to plant some trees. We have added ample landscaping throughout the entire area. There's a little bit more we could probably do in some of these locations, but in general, I think we've done a good job. And that's important because landscaping, I think first of all, it adds to the humanity of a place. It makes you feel a little more within nature, but it also really makes a place feel a little bit less stark, a little bit less inhumane, and adds a lot in terms of buffering. So if you aren't adding landscaping to your cities, please do it because it adds a ton. So that said, let's take a quick look around, and I think that we are looking really good now. The city is really maturing into its own. So let's see what our population looks like. Yeah, so we went from 800 to 4,572. And as far as our incarcerated population, it's 120. So, or 1,000, sorry, 120. So, it's a lot, but not nearly the same percentage it was before. Our park is a level 3 park. We're just waiting on visitors. We'll get to level 4, kind of like our ore industry. We will maintain a level 4. We're going to enact all these policies to get this industry to be as effective as possible. And I think we're going to leave it here. This is it for us in terms of videos for this round of 5 builders, 1 city. I think that we've left the region in a better place than it started, and we're now in a place where I feel comfortable handing it off. If I don't take over this city again, I feel like it's its own place, it's complete, and I'm ready to move on to the next place. So, with that, I'm going to end this video. So if you liked this video, please consider hitting the like button. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And if you want to be notified when I release new videos, hit that notification bell. I want to thank my Patreon supporters. Your support means the world to me, and I really mean that. Their names are listed here. And please consider subscribing to all of us. A lot of great creators involved in this series, and we're all pouring our heart into this. It's a really fun series, and we want to know if you want us to keep doing it, so let us know. Thank you so much for joining me. Here is one last city tour.